Right, now we move on to the only loose ends acknowledged millionaire. This week, the Radio Times proclaims Victor Lewis Smith as the biggest cult on radio. Mr. Lewis Smith tells me they should either sack their proofreader or get a new printing machine. However, Victor, I also read in the article that, and I quote, "You are a bit of a stud." Is that true?
Oh, that's right, Ned. I don't like to boast, but my girlfriend makes so much noise that the neighbours have started to complain. So I've stopped her going round there in future.
Fasten your seatbelt, Mrs. Tribley. Look at me.
What you can hear, Ned, is the sound of Mrs. Tribley and myself flying economy class to New York, courtesy of the nice Mr. Branson, wearing a wig on a string, revolving bow tie, and comic pantaloons. It's not so much a case of Virgin on the Ridiculous, more like Ridiculous on the Virgin.
Where's the bog?
This flight is very economical indeed. It is an old plane, so much so that it has an outside lavatory on the wing.
Bibble bobble.
Okay, if you're British, join the very long queue.
We go through customs. Mrs. Tribley persuades the CIA that what they suspect is an illegal 12-inch rocket missile is in fact her jumbo facial and vibro massager.
What the goddamn hell is that?
It's a massager.
Meanwhile, I'm quizzed by a surly colonial set of teeth with a peaked cap.
And I should say now, I want to see your passport photograph.
They are good likeness, isn't it?
What the hell is that? Jeez, it must be a face that's got ears.
How dare you?
I notice that the customs officer speaks Stritch fluently.
Okay, what is the purpose of your visit?
Well, I'm going to visit McDonald's and the White House.
Why's that?
Well, because they've both got clowns called Ronald working there.
Are you limey?
How dare you? Incidentally, have you wondered why, even though I'm 2 minutes into my New York report, I'm still doing all the voices myself? You noticed that?
Wow, I sure did. Mr. Guardhouse will be furious.
I know. Let me explain in subventive terms.
Although a BBC salary would not pay the daily food bill of an anorexic Bangladeshi punkawalla on hunger strike when it comes to screwing expenses out of senior management, then Auntie Beeb is as gullible as an alopecia victim applying to the Duncan Goodhue Hair Restoration Clinic. In short, impecunious journalists promise their editors hours of radio scoops, then get pissed out of their brains on duty-free on the plane out, and consequently fail to record a single item of classic radio. I was no exception. Out of a possible 3 hours recording, I taped 2.5 minutes, which I have to spin up to 3 pieces to justify the astronomical hotel bill. It's a dilemma which I solve by interpolating my dire Bronx accents into my rating savings masterpieces.
Right, I'll just dial his number now, Mrs. Tribley.
Through customs, and I telephone Quentin Crisp.
Just dial it. I'm just a girl who can't say no. They're playing his tune.
Oh, yes?
Hello, Quentin.
Hello?
Hello, it's Victor from the BBC.
Oh, yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm still living. How are you?
I arrange a visit to one of the stately homos of England, dismantled brick by brick and reassembled in Greenwich Village.
Right, you'll recognise me because I'll be wearing a clock in my lapel standing underneath a 50-foot rose.
Okay.
So I'll see you at midday.
Right.
Have a nice day.
I'll try.
I jump into a yellow cab. It's so filthy you have to wipe your feet before you leave. I'm driven by a cabbie with a double chin on the back of his neck who talks fluent stretch in a Puerto Rican accent.
I mean, you from London?
London, England.
You from there?
Yes.
They call you all the names in a book.
Manhattan is called the city that never sleeps, which is why, I suppose, it looks so bleeding dreadful the next morning.
Yes, Second Avenue?
Ah, splendid.
Right here?
3 cheers. I think this is right. Yes, it's a shop called Manic Panic.
We leave the taxi in a stun gun, mugged and pack-raped 6 times between the cab and the sidewalk. Mr. Crisp's is a tough neighbourhood. I notice that even the restaurants have broken leg of lamb on the menu. We meet outside Manic Panic, his corner shop, much frequented by muscly mustachioed gentlemen with little leather caps.
Just looking at the front window, there's some revolving trinkets on it. It looks a bit like a cross between a sort of like a gentleman's prosthetic shop, isn't it? Crossed with some sort of sadist pagan
That's right,
element.
yes.
It's like a sort of medical.
Spinal end types.
Yeah.
Leopardette. All people who will subsequently be murdered wear leopardette coats.
Shall I go and get one for Mrs. Tribley, do you think?
In London, I dub over the sound effect of a doorbell and we enter the shop.
Perhaps you could show me. It's okay if he shows me around the shop, is it? Because he knows this shop quite well. I bought something here about 2 years ago for a friend of mine called Libby Purvis, who's rather big in Britain.
Oh.
And we bought her some of the chains. This theme of perspex and chains here, which seems to be an overriding theme.
Actually, that's from one of the jackets that got sold. We have to chain them all up because we got
that was the
burglarized.
excuse in court. I say that was the excuse they used in court.
Yeah.
That they actually used the chains because they were burglarized.
We didn't have them before.
Do you know that's not the first or last time I think I've heard that? What is this? Is a ball and chain hanging from the ceiling?
A ball and chain.
While I peruse a leaflet describing specialist gentlemen's activities with their fists, Mr. Crisp is being sprayed with a veritable rainbow of non-permanent hair colour.
We've gone to purple one. What's that? What does that
Violet.
say? If you've got a box of violet hair colour, they do sell everything, including flamingo pink.
What do you think would look good on Mrs. Tribley over there?
Well, I can't remember what the flamingo colour looks like.
Flame might go well with her. She's a bigger sort of a... She's the fuller figure, really, isn't she?
Ah, yes. Well, perhaps something calmer.
I saw 2 elastic bands and a rubber ring, and I'm not sure whether that was a posing pouch or some sort of monocle, a device to keep on monocles.
Yes, I wonder. I don't know. That's nice.
There's something here, just before we go. What does that say? New tattoo. 100% all-natural 12-day temporary tattoo with a jungle body ink comes off after a week. I know the feeling. Lovely to see you.
Thank you for your shop.
Well, Mr. Crisp, I don't know what to say. Mrs. Tribley's appalled. We've never seen anything like it.
Right.
But it's been lovely spending the afternoon with you.
And it's been a pleasure.
And I'll say hello to Ned Sherrin.
No?
He's on steroids these days, so he doesn't know what really is going on. But
Steroids?
Well, the speed that he goes
building
at.
up his muscles.
It's his monkey glands or something keeps him going.
Oh, how strange.
But there's just one thing I wanted before I go. Is it possible if I reduce myself to the size of 4.5 inches to look at your sink?
Oh, yes. My sink is now a feature of life on the Lower East Side.
It is a well-known fact that Mr. Crisp's sink is not kept scrupulously clean. Over the years, layers of grime have accumulated to the point where it makes the Black Hole of Calcutta's sanitary arrangement look like an advertisement for Domestos. What is not generally known is that before Mr. Crisp left England, he took a scraping of our country and transplanted it to New York, where it grew in his sink into a glorious, filthy microcosm of the glory that is Mrs. Thatcher's Great Britain.
Is it dangerous in the sink?
Oh, no, it's cozy.
Through the door and into your sink now.
Next time, if I escape, hear how I saved my life while swimming in the shark-infested waters of Miami by wearing a T-shirt with "Ronald Reagan should be made president of Mensa" written on it, because I guessed correctly that not even a shark would swallow that. Back to you, Ned.
Another report from our American correspondent next week. Jobson, you're...